Today I will show you a complete footprint trade where we can see interaction between buyers and sellers. So without further ado, let's dive in. Here you can see Friday morning. This is 8 a.m. my time, London open. As you will notice, I have here these purple rectangles. This is the Asia range. This chart is NQ. And this chart is ES. What I watch is the correlation between ES and NQ. So, starting off Friday, we had London open. So we had a really hard push up. I'll just put it a little bit faster. So, Friday morning, we had a really big push up. Now, what am I looking for exactly on this footprint chart? I am looking for imbalances. So when there is more buyers than sellers or more sellers than buyers, I am looking for exhaustion, which means there are no more buyers and sellers start taking over. And I'm looking at volume and delta. So the volume is displayed right here. And the delta is all displayed in the bottom below. I look especially at this line. This is the cumulative delta. Many of you know this as a indicator which will display right below the chart. I just look at the numbers and try to interpret it that way. And I see the delta in each bar. Delta is nothing more than the difference between buyers minus sellers. So for example, if you have 100 buyers and you have 80 sellers, you have a positive delta of 20. So Friday we had a big, massive push-up. And there was a small indication for that push-up right here. As you can see at the end of the Asian range, sellers are being absorbed by buyers. This entire red piece means that sellers are trying their best to push price down. But I had zero indication that price was going to push up this fast. Could have seen this delta change of 1132. That would be a nice indication, but I missed that completely. So what I am looking for exactly is the exhaustion, the delta. And one thing specifically I look for is a correlation between ES and NQ. As I said before, the correlation is like a balloon. You have a balloon on a string with a little weight at it. One will push the other up or down, just the same as with ES. So ES will go up. You will see this right here. ES will start pushing up, but NQ will start stalling inside of the Asian range, which is right here for NQ. You will keep an eye on this. You will see NQ start stalling in here after this massive push up. Now, if the balloon cannot hold the weight, the balloon will go back down. If the weight gets cut, the balloon will shoot up. And this is where I kind of make my decision-making progress. So as you see, buyers and sellers are still a little low in numbers, a little low in volume as well, down here, which is very strange for a Friday night. And this made me kind of worrying, made me kind of think that this move up wasn't really real, that it was pushed as sort of a manipulation to the upside. So when you look at normal candlesticks, you don't see the interaction between buyers and sellers, which makes it more difficult to form a good decision. You can see here, ES is entering the Asia range highs, while NQ is still struggling at VWAP. Voila, here we have formed a nice stop. This is where my decision making started, because NQ was still at the Asian range high and ES has flown above it. I think again, and the balloon, so you have the balloon with a string and the weight on it. If the weight is higher than the balloon will eventually start going down again. If we cut the weight, the balloon will go up. So here we see the buyers and sellers interacting. This is kind of a battle going on here with a nice and balanced profile. ES pushing up and Q is following, and then this happens. We get this huge amount of volume right here. This is something that catches my eye. We only have a very small delta change. So now I am searching for an opportunity maybe to go down. We see these buyers coming in here very fast. This is what I told you, this is the imbalance. And it can be interpreted as a lot of buyers stepping in. These are probably, in my opinion, because this is what I see, I don't see NQ pushing higher. So these buyers will be trapped. These buyers will be trapped as well, because they are late buyers. They are just here to fuel liquidity for the downside. So price comes back down again, still no real opinion for me. Now how I enter a trade is I always first look at the bigger picture. I will always try to see where my stop loss can be. Of course, as we know, this is not perfect. Losses are a big part of trading. So this is how I make my decision, is I first look at where my stop loss should be placed. I see I would place a stop loss at 4822. So this is about the place where I go in. So this is the point where my decision is formed. So price has been pushing up here. We see NQ going down. ES is ranging, but we see sellers coming in here, sellers pushing in here, and we see a lot of volume pushing in here, which are trapped traders, trapped buyers. So these sellers that are coming in here are trying to push the price down. The buyers are defending it right here. So all we need is one more push to get price working to the downside. So this is about the time that I would enter the trade. I know where I put my stop loss. And in an ideal scenario, I would put my entry around 18 to 19. But as you see, sellers started defending this area very hard. So I will go in a little bit lower. So I enter the trade right here, around 17. Now my stop is at 22.25, which gives me a 5-point stop. This is a 1-to-2 risk reward, which means that I can have 5-point risk and a 10-point profit. And now we play the waiting game. One big part of trading is the decision-making progress. When you make the decision, you do not think in outcomes. You just stay with your decision, and as you will see, price will be pushed up here very aggressively, staying clear of my stop right here. This is the part where sellers are coming in, and I have a clear representation of my trade going into the correct direction. Let's play this out. Now let's make one thing clear. I did put up this trade and I was sure about my winning because price was being pushed down. I could have pushed one more contract into this, which I didn't. I chose to get my target point at 30 points. And then I just went for a walk. I took a walk of more than an hour, nice into the nature, and I didn't do anything to the trade, which wasn't necessary. So let's see where the trade was going. And this is where the fun starts. We start going to the downside and we start pushing down. This is the part where I started walking. Price pushed down and almost hit points. Then it reversed. So I did the only logical thing that I could imagine. I put my stop loss at the 1-to-2 risk reward, and then it was taken out for 10-point profit. Overall, this is a very, very nice Globex trade. I could have made double. This is where the decision making comes in. Once the decision is made, you cannot turn it back. Price could have reversed there also and taken out my 30-point profit. So these things can happen. So this is a nice quick analysis of how I take a trade, how I enter a trade, and how I manage a trade. I hope this helped a little bit. And have a nice weekend, guys.